We got to
We'll
Tuesday.
come to order. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Alderman Vaccaro,
Present.
Alderwoman Ingracia, Alderwoman Tyus, Alderman Gunther,
Here.
Alderwoman Martin, Alderwoman Navarro,
Here.
Chairman Williamson.
Here.
4 present, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Today we have 3 resolutions on the agenda, and that's 146, 147, 148. And we'll be starting with 146 first. We have our guest speaker today will be Commissioner of Parks, Ms. Ken Haverly, and she's going to explain 146, Resolution 146 first. So welcome, Commissioner, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Happy belated Christmas and New Year's and all that.
Same to you all. Okay, so resolution 146 is for the Metro Parks 3/16 tax. This is one that is similar to the other resolution, 147. It's Metro tax. It's a 1/10 sales tax. So aldermen request projects, and then once we sit down, we come up with a list, and this is that list of when we met at our ward capital meetings back in April, May, that time frame.
And you have the opportunity to talk to quite a few aldermen and women about the allocation of what they will receive in the parks.
Yes, each
Okay.
one of these were discussed with each alderman during that ward capital meeting. The aldermen and alderwomen that I did not get to meet with, I did make contact through either via email or phone calls. I know at our last meeting, Alderwoman Ingracia had some work that she wanted done, some projects. As you know, she had been told, in her words, no. We have since met with her on site. BPS did up a detailed breakdown of all the projects that she wants. I've also made contact with her. We just got that estimate last night, and I've already made contact with her. So I'll be sitting down with her to, so where you see unspecified funds, those funds are what will be used for like an Alderwoman in Gracia. So yes, so we would take that money out of those unspecified monies, and she would, if she had money she wanted to put in, then we would add her projects to this list based on what she has in her accounts, and how much she can afford to spend, so, yeah. But
Alright.
she's the only other additional one that had anything to add. So these monies in unspecified projects will stay there. And so when we meet again next year with all of you, some of those monies will still be sitting there. I'll be honest when I say if a project runs over, or if we encounter a problem, let's say we're doing an upgrade to a comfort station and the sewer line is collapsed, that wasn't in the original estimate, those monies would come out of these unspecified projects. So that money would be used for that.
I just want to state for the record, when you reached out to all the aldermen and alderwomen, you CC me, so we'll reach out to them to discuss their allocations of the parts they have in their ward. All right, very good. So we'll go ahead and take questions of Alderman Victoria.
I don't have any questions. I know that we have to, this has to get done this week, but, and I get it because we have so many new aldermen, why they had to re-go over, but this list in the past comes out and you have to have your stuff turned in, or you just didn't get it. And, part of this, you're gonna see like, these are the matching fund ones where you have to put up 25%. And then the other one, we get to the end, is the one where we pay all. But I'm just saying how it used to work. And like I was saying earlier, these get passed out of here, they don't go to the full board of aldermen. Then they can actually get started on the work. So I have no questions, but I understand, I just wanna
At this
make sure.
point, we're actually moving forward with the work. If it doesn't pass though, at some point I'll have to pull the plug.
So,
So, I
Start
mean,
dismantling a playground as kids are on it or something.
no, what I'm saying is right now we've been, like, let's say, what we try to do to get, best prices is maybe, out of the 28 aldermen, there might be 20 of you that are getting trash cans in your parks. We went to every park and identified trash can spaces, Google mapped them, that's all been submitted to BPS. They wanna go out for bid on it. And so we're moving forward, but at some point, the accountant's gonna say, the funds aren't in place. So, we've been continuing to work forward, so we weren't holding anything up. But,
I just wanted to know. the
yeah,
process.
yeah. So it's a combination, and that's part of the reason why, when we send out those letters, and we'll be sending them out here probably by the end of January, on what park projects you have, we'll send you out a list of what we have. Maybe it carried over from the year before. We didn't have enough funds to do it. And then, once those come back to us, we'll add those to that list. And then that's that list that you get handed at the ward capital meetings, so, yeah.
Okay,
I'm a-
oh, you're not done?
Just one last quick thing. So you've been reached out to, because they talked to you and I'm just curious.
Yeah, everybody's been talked to.
Okay,
She sent out emails.
okay, cool.
She's reached out to everybody.
Okay.
Okay, Alderman Gunther.
So the last time we sat through this meeting, I had a question about Mount Pleasant Park not being listed on all of these. And at the time that Ryan was here, he said that was part of the separate money that was that group of the trash cans that you just talked about. So just to get it on record one more time, that is still.
Yes.
Okay. perfect.
That's actually, we
So-
had additional park bond money. So instead of using this money, we're using the park bond money, because if we don't use that money, we lose that money. So better to let unspecified, amounts be here than to lose that park bond money, so yes.
Perfect.
yeah.
Yep. Just want to get it on record one more
Yep.
time.
Nope.
So, that's it. Thank you.
Alderwoman Navarro.
I just have a general question. I mean, it seems like in order for us to be maintaining our parks, it really comes down to aldermanic budgets and all the other things that they have to balance. I mean, are you in any sort of position where the Parks Department can say, we're looking at everything and this is where we see the highest need? I mean, your hands are really tied by if an alderman's in a position to
Yes.
meet that need.
Yes.
And that's how our parks are maintained.
Yes, so we will, that list that we present to each of you, it's at the discretion of the aldermen, basically to decide what they wanna do and what they don't wanna do. Especially when it comes to the Metro Parks funds. There are, the neighborhood parks funds, which is the other resolution here, that money is distributed, and that doesn't require a match. So there are things that sometimes the aldermen will do with that money. One of the things that you run into, and I know we're gonna have a meeting about this, is, we get this money, and part of the reason why you see there's a lot of unspecified projects is all the people get a certain amount of money. Well, if you're doing lights and cameras and security things that, that's kind of the need now, we're putting less towards the parks to match. So that I don't have as many park projects. They might be smaller park projects than they had been in the past, so that's where that unspecified dollar amount is. That being said, if something needs to be done and it's a hazard or something like that, Greg has the authority to go in and say, I can go to him and say, I really need this done, this is causing problems, we've had somebody get hurt, something like that, and we can use those unspecified funds to make that improvement or that repair, to make it safe again.
Do other cities operate the same way?
I don't know,
So there's not the Parks Department doesn't have a priority list of, these are the parks that, I mean, just based on the system that we have, it doesn't seem like that would be part of that system. I mean,
Oh,
it's-
we know where we
You-
have,
Okay.
we know where we have problems.
Okay.
And like I said, if something comes up, let's say a fountain breaks, you know, and it's iconic fountain. It could be Aloe Plaza, let's say, you know, it's iconic. If we needed funds, technically, we could go to those unspecified funds and fix that.
Okay.
If, like I said, if something became unsafe, like the railings fell off of a fishing pier or something, we could use those unspecified funds to repair that railing, that type of thing. Safety issues, things like that, and repair issues are usually what comes out of that unspecified funds. And like I said, if we're doing one of the capital improvement projects and like I said, the sewer line is collapsed and we didn't know it, and it's, you know, we don't have the money in the contingency to do it, it'll come out of those unspecified funds.
Thank you.
And Alderwoman, I'd weigh in as well. I would say, I don't know the most appropriate word to use, but I'd say we're fortunate through the prior votes of the people. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Could you just announce who you are, Greg? And
Oh,
if
I'm
you like
sorry.
to, you can have a seat here.
Yeah, well, it's easier with my leg here.
Okay, well, you better
I'm
off there. Go
sorry,
ahead. I'm sorry.
Chairman. I'm Greg Hayes, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Forestry.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And I was late because I was at city staff at the police headquarters, so I apologize. I would say Parks Department has been fortunate due to the votes of the people for the various sales taxes we have, and also with the cooperation of the Board of Aldermen. Parks is we're very tight with the aldermen, and they communicate any capital project needs in the park. And if they don't, I would say it's based on the history of some trust, that they trust what we've reviewed ourselves internally to say are the needs in the park. We can certainly benchmark with other cities. Unfortunately, we are not fortunate to be able to use general revenue funds to put back in the parks. I assume other cities who are in better financial standing may be able to do that, but all our general revenue from permitting, et cetera, doesn't come back to us to put back to capital projects. But we can certainly look into that, Alderman.
Can I just make a final comment? I wasn't questioning that the Parks Department has priorities or that you know where the issues are, but just in terms of how our system works, how do we identify, you know, where to put the funds? So that was not any reflection on.
No,
what I think
no,
the
not at
Parks
all.
Department's attention to the parks.
And we will put things on your list that are our wish list too.
And I don't wanna wear this out, but Dan Skillman for many years wore several hats, as especially Alderman Vaccaro knows for all the years he's been here. So Dan did a lot of things internally that would be very costly to do, to go outside. Kim carries on with that tradition, and I felt a need with a budget 2 years ago, that the civil engineer was removed a few years ago from our budget. I don't like the word, but I put it back in because Melvin Nasi is somebody that goes around to all the parks and identifies playground needs, sidewalk needs, et cetera, with all the amenities. Without Melvin, Kim has
Yes.
way too much on her plate to be doing that herself.
She's been amazing.
So that's been a key piece of our budget. So, that said.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Got another question?
Mine's just more just, the other thing, when you get these this year, and I didn't do it this year, but a lot of times, if you got a big project, you can, like, do 100, like mine's 150, I just did it all out of one. But you can do 100,000 or 75,000 out where you only have to match 25% of 75, and apply in the other one for the equal 75, that you don't have to match. Just so you know, you don't have to pick one or the other. You can, you know, sometimes it's easier, or if it's a bigger project, you can, if you look, probably some of these are gonna be in both. So you match in one and you don't match in the other, so if your project, I did mine out of match, just to make it easy this year, but you can actually take, if you got say a $200,000 project, you can do 100 out of one and 100 out of the other. Just
Okay.
kinda let you know what. Those are really no questions, I just wanna make sure they understand that they can do
Anyone
it.
else have any questions? Okay, we appreciate your presence, Director Greg Hayes, and that information also.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, well, I entertain a motion to pass our resolution
I'll make a
146.
motion.
Second?
It's been seconded. Madam Clerk, could you please call roll?
Yes, sir. Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderwoman Ingracia, Alderwoman Tyus, Alderman Gunther,
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin, Alderwoman Navarro,
Aye.
Chairman Williamson.
Aye.
4 aye votes do pass.
Okay, board, resolution 146 been passed on the due pass recommendation. So we'll go to resolution 146.
No questions for me.
46 or 47?
47.
147, I'm sorry, duh, 147, I'm gonna say no. I apologize, thanks.
No question.
Okay, Alderman Gunther,
No question?
Alderman Navarro,
No questions?
all right.
I make a motion, we pass resolution 147 out with due pass recommendation.
Second.
Previous roll.
Give me a call. All right, 147 has been passed out with due pass recommendation. So we'll move on to resolution 148. Anybody have any questions?
I have no question.
Can you explain to me what engineered mulch is? It's just a joke, but no questions.
Okay.
We used to get wood mulch to put the playgrounds down, now we need engineered mulch.
The engineered mulch is recommended because the wood mulch is susceptible to splinters. So it's kind of like,
Still wood mulch though,
it is, but it's like,
tumbled,
tumbled twice to take off the rough
it's
edges.
just a joke.
Yeah, but yeah.
Engineered
Sounds
mulch.
like something from like.
It's like $5,000 and usually we got mulch everywhere. Piles of mulch.
So anyone else have any questions?
No questions.
I'll make a motion, we pass resolution 148 with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Previous roll.
148 has been passed out with due pass recommendation.
Thank you all.
All right.
You're welcome. Now, we do have, Mr. Don Williams here from Board of Public Service. There has been some requests to have Ms. Stephanie Doss come to our meeting. So, if anyone has any questions on the role that Board of Public Service plays when it comes to the money, you know, being received from the Parks Department, we can have them take any questions if there are. Don, can you have a seat right next door to Kim?
Oh, okay.
Put you in the hot seat there.
Oh, great.
Stephanie's supposed to be down here.
Well, my understanding is, I think her mother's ill, she couldn't make it, is the email I received from her, and I also talked to her, so Don's kind of stepping in for her at the time being. But we can always request her presence again if anybody would like to have her attend the meeting. So anybody have any questions of Mr. Williams?
I have none.
Well, just briefly, Mr. Williams, if you can kind of tell us, you know, the role, just briefly on what you do, and I know you're probably dealing with quite a few wards when the allocation comes down, and as a liaison, I know you're very busy and dealing with different projects, so you can kind of briefly explain how that function goes down.
Okay, well, being a liaison, what we do is we pretty much monitor the projects and also monitor the funding of projects in which we receive approval from the Alderman. With the Parks Department, what the Parks Department usually does, like Kim says, usually sometimes in January, they send out a list of projects, capital projects, park projects, and need projects. And then the Alderman will reply to Parks, you know, if they wish to proceed with these projects. Kim, Parks Department usually will advise us of those requests, usually in the budget meeting, and what we'll do is we'll allocate the funds for that. So if there's a match project, we'll identify with the capital improvement funds at 25% where we can pull it from. We must get the approval of the Alderman before we can actually execute that transfer. So what we do in general is we monitor the projects and we also monitor capital improvement funds, that 3/8 sales tax, or some people call it half-cent sales tax. Generally, that's what we do.
Very good. No questions? We appreciate you coming down and explaining that.
No, thank you.
All right, well, we'll stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.